Ouch, was that a ghost?
Ouch, was that a ghost?
With Liss
And Lee.
and
The RedRum podcasters, Kristen
and Natasha.
So you guys are both redheads. Liss is a redhead. So I have a question. I'm a little jealous I'm not a redhead, but do the carpets match the drapes?
that question is the grossest question in the entire world.
Does it bug you that I asked?
Yes.
They really ask us all the time.
Mhm.
It's normal.
And you guys never answer. And I'm not one to ask, but I'm asking now. Can I please?
Yes, they do.
Yep.
We have hardwood floors that if we have carpeting, it matches.
Mine's like black, but my hair's brown.
You're not really getting what she's saying.
No. Oh, yeah,
She's
they
saying-
shave.
Yeah. Oh, okay, you do get it.
There we go.
Natasha refers to it as hardwood floors because whenever I first started dating my husband, he goes, "So what are we working with? We got carpet or laminate down there?"
We are related. So
What were the grossest questions you got besides that? I think that was the top for me, but I don't know if that bothered you guys or you guys got that a lot.
no.
I just got called like Ginge all the time in school.
I hated Gingy.
Oh,
Ginger.
I don't like when people call you fire crotch.
Yeah, that happens
that's
a lot.
Disgusting.
What?
I had this little old guy, and he always liked to tell me dirty jokes when I worked there. I mean, when I mean old, I mean he was probably like 70, 80 years old. Oxygen tank. He was, I mean, most of the time he was actually really nice, and I think it was because I told him dirty jokes. But he would come up and he'd be like, "Hey, Red," and I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Do you know why you have red hair?" And I'm like, "'Cause I was born." I'm like, and he was like, "No, it's because somebody left you out in the rain too long and you rusted."
I hate all those, and like, there's not enough redheads to
Oh.
vent this with.
Oh, no. So the best one is when you go out and a guy's trying to hit on you, right? And he walks up to you and he's like, "Hey, I see nobody's fucked the fire out of you yet. Mind if I try?"
That's the newest pickup line that I'm going to use. I'm so excited. On behalf of everyone who's not a redhead, I'm going to apologize to you guys. Now, you guys come at me. Go. That's what I
Oh, I
thought.
don't know.
A bunch of redheaded pussies.
Redheads, there are some benefits to it. Like my leg hair is blonde, so I can get away with not shaving.
yeah.
You can't tell what my eyebrows even look like unless I get like embarrassed or pissed off because my face gets so red. That's the only time you can see them.
Actually, mine are brown, believe it or not. I don't know
Oh,
why,
Nope.
but they're brown.
My kids are both redheads as well, and my mom will be like, "Oh, look at her look at the way she raises her eyebrows." I'm like, "What eyebrows?"
Well, that's what's weird. My eyelashes are red, and like my other hair, like my arms and stuff, is like blonde, and then my eyebrows are brown. I'm weird. I'm just fucked up.
You're like a Crayola box. It's just
I
all
am. What is it? The Horse of Many Colors
Mhm.
from Wizard of Oz?
I'm jealous though. I'm the odd one out. For the first time in my life, I am the odd one out.
It's like light brown with blonde like highlights in it naturally, and a Hispanic girl. Like
I should be more blonde. I'm a
that's
fucking
an-
bimbo.
You are. I'll tell you one thing is that whenever I go to the dentist and I say I'm a natural redhead, they don't believe me that I need more pain meds for my mouth to numb it. Novocaine. They'll give me the regular shot, and I'm like, I can feel it. He's like, no, you can't. I'm like, yes, I can. He's like, am I touching it? And I'm like, yeah. And then he'll be like, oh, you really can. I'm like, no kidding.
I had that situation whenever I had my wisdom teeth taken out. So I was actually fully put to sleep for my wisdom teeth removal. But so they give you the IV, but then they also gave me laughing gas to like kickstart me into going to sleep. And the doctor's just sitting there. He's like, "So you feel anything?" And I'm like, "No." So he cranks it up, asked me again, said no, cranked it up again, and it took him like 3 cranks to even get it to where I was like laughing. So
I had a couple surgeries where, I mean, they wheeled me back to the operating room, and I was putting myself on the operating table. Like, I was totally functional, talking to the nurse, getting myself on the table. They didn't have to pick me up or nothing. They were like, they're like, "Did you give her stuff?" And the guy's like, "Yeah, I swear I gave it to her."
Are you a natural redhead? That should be a
Oh, yeah.
question.
yes.
Yeah.
So you guys are just fucking soups.
We are. Well, they don't watch boys or Gen Z,
Oh,
so they wouldn't get the
You don't
reference.
get it.
Nope.
Oh my gosh, do you know what I saw today online? They're making a Jeff the movie, the Jeff the Mongoose.
No fucking way. Okay, we haven't covered it yet. I'm going to cover it.
It's on Prime.
I'm planning on doing a No Shave November for my topics, and I need furry little fellas. And guess what? He fits the bill.
Oh, I thought we were just all gonna have hairy legs. Even though November, it's so cold. I don't shave my legs then.
Oh,
Anyway.
I do that too. But I was just
I've
saying
already started. I don't know.
So
What
you mean you guys are still shaving?
I haven't
mean-
shaved my kid. He's 8 months.
at our place of work, we have to wear pants.
Yep.
Like you cannot
Or
have
pantyhose.
not even an ankle showing.
Correct.
So, I barely shave my legs even in the summertime.
The way I look at it is nobody sees them or touches them anyway, so what the fuck does it matter?
So I'm covering the LuLulemon murder. Have you guys ever heard of the LuLulemon murders?
No. It's like workout gear.
My ass was too big for those.
It's expensive as fuck.
They cost like $200 a pair.
Made by Lulu.
Yes. So on March 12th, 2011, at around 8 a.m., Rachel, I'm going to have Lee say the last name.
Rachel Iratelli. No, I hit too many synonyms.
Synonym?
Cinnamon
Like-
rolls?
Yeah, Lee. Like I did.
Are you talking about?
Syllables.
So Rachel Owertley was heading to the Lululemon Athletica high-end workout gear in Bethesda, Maryland, where she worked as a manager. This was like a really bougie area, upper middle class, one of those pretty strip malls, like an outdoor shopping complex. So as Rachel started to fumble for her keys to unlock the front door, she noticed it was already unlocked and open. Figuring maybe it was left open last night, she went inside to start her day. Upon entering the store, lights were already turned on, which was odd, and a mannequin was knocked over. This was actually a mannequin. You know how usually it's like never a mannequin?
People are just on the ground on a regular basis. Like you encounter this.
No, I have a shirt that says it's never a mannequin, and I wear it to work all the time, and I have to explain to people what it means.
It's never a mannequin.
You know what?
A lot of people in true crime scenarios,
Yeah.
they usually find something and they're like, oh, well, I thought it was a mannequin, but upon closer, review, I found out it was a body.
Yeah.
So it's never a mannequin.
Just saying really quick, if I were to go to work and the door's open, the lights are on, and there's a mannequin knocked over, I don't give a fuck if it happened that night. I'm GTFOing and I'm calling the cops.
So some of the merchandise was also strewn about on the floor. Drawers, cabinet doors were open. And that's when she heard a low moaning sound coming from the back of the store. All these things just happened at once. I'm assuming Rachel was like bugging out. So she ran outside not knowing what was going on. And she was going to call 911.
As she should.
Yeah, but there was an Apple store directly next door to the Lululemon. And a new item, an iPad 2 just dropped. So there was like a long line of people out there waiting. And Rachel, I'm assuming looking distressed, was approached by a man named Ryan to see if she was okay. And Rachel asked Ryan if he could help her, and she described what she just saw and told him she heard moaning and was afraid someone was hurt in the back. So he agreed to come inside with her as they waited for police to come. As they entered the store, more things seemed out of place the further back they went. And as they walked to the back, I don't know how to describe this. As they walked to the back of the front part of the store, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they saw the cash register was open with receipts just thrown all over the floor.
So we heard a knock.
There's no one here.
She has Ring cameras that like motion sense anything coming up to her door at all. Those didn't go off, but the dogs went
We both
fucking
heard a
crazy.
knock.
So then Ryan walked into the back room and there was stuff knocked all over the place. There was bloody footprints. Later on, it's found out that there was a woman's size and then one was a men's size 14. And there were just smears of blood all over the wall. There was a body seen face down with a ligature around the neck, like a rope. So it was in a huge puddle of blood. The blood spatter on the wall even reached as high as 6 feet at some places. And there was an open toolbox, which was property of Lululemon, which contained a wrench, box cutters, hammer, and other types of tools with blood on a lot, like most of the tools. So Ryan yelled for Rachel to call 911 again and said, I think someone's dead. Ryan was following the moaning and found another person in the employee bathroom, and she was zip tied around her ankles, and her wrist was zip tied in front of her, and her hands were above her head. She was found laying on her back and had blood all over her face with a visible gash in the middle of her forehead. Her stomach was exposed, and her yoga pants had a cut in the crotch area.
Wait, I'm sorry. I have a question. So her hands were zip tied above her head. Was she connected to anything, or she just had them above her
No,
head?
she was just like laying on her back, and they were zip tied above her head, and her feet were zip tied.
Okay.
I didn't know Lululemon made crotchless leggings.
I do now.
That's worth the money.
Like, dude, that's like a waste of like a lot of money.
Yeah, they're freaking expensive. So, blood was smeared on the wall, and there was even paper towels soaked in blood on the floor. It was then that Rachel realized that these were her employees that were working last night. There was Brittany Norwood, who was the second woman found in the bathroom with cuts on her chest, legs, arms, and face. And Jana Murray was the first woman who sadly was pronounced dead at the scene. Brittany was quickly taken to a local hospital to get medical attention, and the police were able to talk to her quickly as she only had 2 injuries requiring stitches or bandages. All others just needed cleaning and to disinfect, and a rape kit was done. So just to tell you a little bit about the girls, Jana, who was pronounced dead at the scene, she was 30 years old. She was born on November 22nd, 1980. She was someone who lived every day to the fullest. Her family described her as having a megawatt smile. She was outgoing, popular. She danced salsa, tap. She bungee jumped. She skydived. She was one of those like cool outdoorsy people. Like, that is not me.
She
And,
did the damn thing.
Seriously, and at 30 years old, she made it to every continent except Antarctica.
Holy
That's-
crap!
Right? And she was with
I
a long
don't even leave the county.
I know, I didn't even leave my house. So she was with a longtime boyfriend who a few weeks prior started shopping for engagement rings. She was 10 weeks away from getting 2 degrees. Like, she sounds freaking amazing. She was someone I would love to be friends with. And to top it all off, she was gorgeous. She had a glow of such a just good person inside and out. And Brittany, who was the girl that was treated at the hospital, she was 28 years old, and she was born May 19th, 1982. She had a really happy childhood. She was one of 9 children, and she was very petite but very strong. She was a great soccer player and played college soccer at one time. Brittany aspired to be a personal trainer and actually had an interview in a few days. So Jana's autopsy showed, this is from court testimony by the medical examiner, that Jana sustained at least 331 wounds, separate wounds.
I'm sorry. Can you say that again?
She sustained 331 wounds, separate
Holy
wounds.
shit! I thought I misheard you because that's outrageous.
Yeah, with over 200 of them on Jana's neck and above.
Oh, damn.
Holy!
She had 13 fractures on her skull. So pathologists believe that she was still alive. I hope not conscious until the last fatal stab to the back of her neck, severing her spinal cord. So most of those blows and rage she felt.
Oh
I
my
wish people
god!
could see our faces.
Yeah, I wish they could. That's awful.
The police took Brittany's statement, and Brittany recounts the previous night how she and Jana finished the shift and both left to head to their respective houses. Jana drives and Brittany takes the subway. So when Brittany got to the station, she realized she forgot her subway card at the store and couldn't get back in. She didn't have Jana's number, so she called. I say so much. She didn't have Jana's number. In turn, she called other coworkers to get it. She managed to get the number and called Jana and see if she could open the store up to retrieve the card. Jana said sure because she forgot her laptop anyways. Brittany recounts how she walked back and Jana kind of double parked in front of the store because the girls were just going to run in and get the items. So they didn't bother locking the front door because they were just, like I said, going in and out. Brittany couldn't find the card, so Jana said Brittany could just use her Metro card, and bring it back tomorrow. As they were walking to the front of the store, 2 men in all black with ski masks on, one was about 6 feet tall and one was 5 foot 4 inches, jumped out from behind the clothes rack. Brittany said the bigger guy grabbed Jana and dragged her by the hair into the other room, and the smaller guy grabbed Brittany and he was demanding money from her from the register. Brittany then explained how she was then dragged into the other room. She was zip-tied, all while getting accosted with racial slurs. Brittany described how the man kept hitting her and slashing her, and he was saying her address to her to let her know that he knew where she lived. Brittany described how he cut open her leggings and raped her, and then he left and got a wooden coat hanger and came back and sexually assaulted her. Brittany described Jana's screams from the other room, and they got quieter and quieter until they fully stopped. Brittany was told her life will be spared, and then she was thrown into the employee's bathroom. As she was letting the officers know what happened, she was sobbing and blaming herself for forgetting her card and wanted to know how Jana was doing. A brazen attack like this, especially in like an area where people are still nearby, like all the shops were still closing and there's security guards there, is, you know, it really freaked out the neighborhood. They checked the area for anyone in the mall possibly having cameras. Luckily, the Apple store right next door did. They checked the cameras that night, and 2 men matching the description walked by, both in black with the height difference. They asked the public for help identifying these 2 men. Police, while waiting for a break on the 2 men, spoke to employees of a nearby store to see if anyone saw anything out of the ordinary. And an Apple employee said that the night of the incident at about 10 p.m., she heard squealing, a lot of banging, high-pitched screams coming from the LuLulemon store.
And you did nothing?
Yeah. A quote being, one of them was screaming bloody murder. And one employee said they heard, "Talk to me, don't do this, talk to me, what's going on?" Followed by screaming, "And God help me, please help me."
Okay, maybe they were screaming bloody murder because they were getting bloodily murdered.
But they in turn,
Also,
they
sorry.
told the security guard, and the only thing the security guard did was bang on the wall because the 2 stores shared a wall. So he just like
Do you
banged.
not have like a radio or some shit?
What the hell is this guy getting paid for?
Also,
Someone lost their job.
Call somebody, do something.
also would not pick somebody 5'4" to help me kill people. Unless he was jacked.
Honey, if you were going to want to go slaughter people, would you not want me with you?
I mean, I would take you.
I'm only 5'2".
But I'm thinking like 5'4", skinny bitch. Like no upper body strength.
It sounds as though these 2 gentlemen assumed that someone in particular was going to be there, right? Because if he had her address, I mean,
They did their research.
he had to have looked it up, right? And so maybe he knew that he didn't need to have another behemoth.
Maybe.
You know, because maybe she was little.
Obviously, size doesn't matter, but if you're gonna try and like overpower by not having like an actual weapon and you're using stuff from the store, you went in a little unprepared. Like you knew your info, but you're going in assuming that there's things in the back room to be
unless
used.
you knew there was things in the back room.
True.
Like what if he was a maintenance worker or a utility guy?
He left the bag of wrenches.
Or a stock person. Or maybe you're just a guy with a really great ass, so you work there. And you wore the pants.
You can rock the leggings.
Yeah.
If he can afford them. So we know at 9:45 the store was closed and locked, and at 10:05 they came back to retrieve Brittany's subway card and Jana's laptop. So the crime must be put around 10:05-ish. The police were right on everything. This was only a few days after, and they were regrouping, trying to put all the pieces together, and they realized this looks like a robbery, and Jayla's car was nowhere to be seen. So maybe it was stolen, so they should probably find that. So Jana's car had Texas plates on it, so it should stick out. They got a description for her car, and we're going to go put a bolo out, a be on the lookout, for the vehicle when an officer remembered seeing a car parked in a parking lot near the Lululemons at about 12:30. The car still had its lights on, and there was a person sitting in the vehicle. He also recounted passing the vehicle at 2 a.m., and the vehicle appeared empty and the lights were turned off. He remembered where the car was and brought the other officers to the location, and the car was still there. The car was towed and the vehicle was searched for any evidence, just inventoried at the station, so now they were just waiting for the results. The police tried to review the tapes and looked for any angles, shadows, clues, but it didn't show anything further. So one officer decided to stake out the strip mall just in case the suspects returned. So while on the stakeout, he spotted 2 men fitting the description, black clothes, height difference, and the men were questioned and even shown a printout of the men on the Apple surveillance and asked if they recognized the men in the picture, and they said, yeah, that's us. We were walking home from work, and they explained how they were wearing all black because they were waiters at a nearby restaurant. And they were walking towards their homes together because they lived in the same area, and their stories checked out. So now law enforcement was back to the drawing board. They decided to regroup and review the notes in case they missed anything. As they did, certain things weren't feeling right. The biggest thing was that nothing was brought into the store. No lockpick kit, no outside weapons, everything used was already in the store. So how would they know a hammer and a box cutter would be in the store? And how they were thinking about how different the assaults were. Like one was slashing, like just kind of superficial, and the other one was like stabbing. So the amount of different tools used also was kind of strange. Like who would use a hammer and then be like, okay, hold on, let me go get a box cutter. You know what I mean? Like you wouldn't just switch up tools mid attack. Something just seemed kind of strange. And the amount of rage and time needed to inflict so much on Jaina was also strange, while Brittany was so much less. So a great point brought up by YouTuber Eleanor Neal was that there were 2 sets of footprints, and if there were 4 people,
Hold on. I
what?
forgot you said there were 2 sets of footprints.
Yeah, but if there were 4,
But how are there 4 people?
like if there were 4 people, if there were 2 intruders plus Jaina plus Brittany, and they said that they brought them all in the back, and there's only 2 sets of footprints, so there would be at least 4 sets going one way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What were the footprints made in?
They were in blood.
Okay, so whenever I think 2 sets of footprints made in blood,
it would be the 2.
It would be the 2 intruders.
Yeah. Going out.
The girls would have, because they said that they were like dragged back there.
But they wouldn't have been bleeding yet, right? Because he drug her by the hair back there and then started beating her ass.
Yeah, I guess
she wouldn't have been bleeding yet.
Yeah, like they didn't bleed until the back room.
Yep. Okay.
And I guess where? So, from another perspective, I don't know if it's something that would happen if it was just the 2 girls and they were trying to blame these other 2 people or making up a story because there's only one there to tell the tale, right? Where was the blood coming from? And 2, because say the one that was alive was the one in the bathroom, right?
Correct.
Okay, so if there were 2 sets of bloody footprints or whatever in the back room, and then maybe one set that like led around and to the bathroom, but then none leading out the door, then I'd be like, well, maybe it was this bitch, and but that's a lot of injuries to.
But there was only one set of female footprints, and then there was a men's size 14 sneakers.
Oh shit, that's a big foot.
One that was there.
Big
so
foot is
unless you're Peggy Hill, but that's I watch too many cartoons.
While the police were there talking about the sneakers, the manager said, "Oh, don't worry about those larger sneaker at the footprints because those were size 14 sneakers we keep inside the store. We keep them the largest, so if men come in and they want to see like what the sneakers look like with the pants, they keep the largest size so everyone's foot can fit in them. They're just like the stock sneakers."
So then in that case, I wonder if when they were looking at the footprints and analyzing them, if the weight distributed in that said footprint was covering the entirety of the shoe, or if maybe it was a little heavier in, say, the heel area or the toe area because the foot wasn't big enough to fill the shoe.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's can fill 14s, but yeah, I see what you're saying. Like you can kind of gauge their size off of their distribution.
I must say my ex-husband wore a size 14 shoe.
Oh my gosh, my brother's like 6'3" and he wears what, a size 12. I don't even think I've met someone with a 14.
Yep,
that's
he was about 6'4", and which let me tell you, there is no correlation between dick size and shoe size.
I was thinking it. I'm glad you said
it. Because if that is the case, I was greatly let down.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, honestly though, do you really want something that big every day? Like it's nice for a one night stand, but every day.
But here's the thing. See, if you have there, what is it? It's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So you can always just put in a little at a time, like just the tip tonight, babe. I appreciate it. I really don't want to fill it in my belly button tonight. Like, trust me, I've been there, and I've been like, whoa, like back it up because I don't need the whole thing.
I need my guts tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So as they were noticing the inconsistencies, more became clearer. The Apple employee heard 2 female voices, never saying that they heard a man. And Brittany said a man was yelling racial slurs at her and her address. And if Brittany was a target, why was she targeted after hours instead of at the train station where she should have been, or, you know what I mean, when she was scheduled to work?
Yeah, that does make sense.
So was Brittany part of the break-in? So police decided to look into Brittany a little bit to see who she is. And Brittany was on the soccer team, but as soon as she joined the soccer team, all of her teammates started reporting things going missing from the locker room. A few dollars here,
Go.
and other little things. Brittany was confronted, and Brittany apologized to the team, and they forgave her, but it was never the same, and a lot of friendships just ended. She was expelled from school due to her stealing and attendance and lost her scholarship. She babysat when she was younger from a family until jewelry kept disappearing. She even scammed a friend who lived with her and split the rent. She told the friend that the rent was raised, and she just pocketed the difference.
Oh, damn.
So a picture was getting painted pretty good of who she was. She basically went to get a weave put in, and when it was time to pay, she claimed someone stole her wallet, and she just like made this big ruckus in the salon. And the stylist was like, "All right, don't worry about it, just pay me later." And then she never did. She just blocked the stylist, and the owner was quoted saying,
Ghosted.
"Seriously,
That's some shit I would do.
I was over here thinking, wow, that's ghetto.
Leaf like been there." So she lied and told her family she graduated with a psychology and sociology degree and just made up a story about owing a balance. And that's why she couldn't get her diploma at graduation. She had a boyfriend for a while and they broke up. And Brittany started calling and texting her ex-boyfriend and his new girlfriend. And one article says how she even broke into their place and stole personal items. I don't know what exactly. And she stole electronics too. They blocked her.
Runaway dildo.
So she a crazy bitch.
Hide the vibrators. Those are electronics and personal items.
She's like, "I don't have anything," as she's sitting there vibrating.
I don't know. Is that a flashlight in your pocket? Or are you happy to see me?
And she kept violating the order, so it didn't even matter. She even parked across the street from his job and just stared at him.
She's fucking nuts.
Put some people down like rabid animals. Back before I was medicated. Yeah, I was fucking crazy.
All right. Well, okay then.
So it came out that Jana and Brittany weren't friends. Brittany was already accused by a coworker at LuLulemon of stealing, and a meeting was held by management, and it was decided to get cause to dismiss her, so they just waited for Brittany basically to fuck up again. They were waiting for her to steal something or anything dismissible. So LuLulemon has a policy about employees checking each other's bags when they're leaving. So on March 11th, the girls were closing the store together that night, and Brittany was asked to open her bag by Jana. And Jana found a pair of yoga pants in Brittany's bags with no receipt, and she said Jana would hold on to them until the next day. Jana let the manager know on the way home, and the manager said she'd deal with it tomorrow. So by now, the car inspection was done, and Jana and Brittany's blood were found inside of the car. And there was a hat that was found in the car as well. And it had blood in the front center, which was where Brittany had the cut, if you remember, on her head.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe Brittany was working with the attackers. The police asked her about Jana's car and if she knew what it looked like. And she was like, "No, I've never been in it." And they were like, "Yeah, we didn't ask if you were in it. We said, do you know what her car looks like?" And she's like, "No." And she was asked about the zip ties and like, were they from the store? Did the guys bring them in? And she was like, "Oh, the men brought them in. They took them out of a backpack." And the police just basically called BS. They were like, "Yeah, they matched the ones that were already in the store." And she said, "Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe. It's all blurry. Can I just go home?" I'm very stressed out.
I'm lying, and you're catching me. Can I go now?
So they were looking at her injuries, and one was like almost in the webbing of her hand, like a slice, like if you had a knife in your hand and then it just kind of like you slicing tomatoes and it just kind of sliced the inside of the webbing between your thumb and your pointer.
So, like, could they tell that? Did they look self-inflicted?
What?
Some of her injuries.
Well, they were superficial. They could be self-inflicted.
Right.
No one's gonna cut themselves as deep if they're doing it to themselves. They're gonna be more. There's gonna be hesitation and that kind of thing, and they won't be as deep typically. I mean, unless you're really into that kind of thing.
It's just like how you can bite the tip of your finger off like a carrot, but your mind stops you.
Did you ever listen to our Dyatlov? He literally bit his finger off.
When the fuck did that happen?
When I was going over the autopsies, and all of them said like hypothermia.
Yeah.
But everyone had like they were missing an eye, they were missing their tongue. He bit his finger off, and they're like, "Oh, his death was hypothermia." Thanks for paying attention when I tell you stories.
I do pay attention. I just I forget
shit.
afterwards.
Her head wound was right in the center, and the police said it's almost as if she was straddling something. Like if you were striking up and down with something and you accidentally hit yourself in your forehead by mistake.
Oh.
Remember, she was tied up the whole time. And a rape kit also came back, and it was negative. The police now changed the perspective of the investigation, and they were looking at Brittany as the assailant. So a forensic expert was asked to re-examine it in this way, like if she was the aggressor. He requested the zip ties to see if there were bite marks, as you can't fully zip tie yourself without using something to clamp it down.
Yep.
So her feet ties had no marks on it, and her wrist ties did. And her arms were also brought up above her head. Like, there's no reason not to bring them
You're
down.
getting attacked. You're gonna. Your instinct is to hide.
Yeah,
and
and now
cover yourself, protect yourself.
And even if not, when they left, there's no reason to have him up above her head anymore. She could have pulled him down. They weren't tied to anything. They were tied to each other. And if your hands are tied together above your head, you could easily just pull them to the center of your body.
Yeah.
Like there was nothing stopping. It was more like to paint a picture. And the blood pools didn't really match either. They remembered the soaked paper towels, and the blood appeared to be soaked up from Jana and spread on the wall, and Brittany spreading it on herself to make the scene look worse than it was.
Oh, shit.
And her wounds were consistent with being self-inflicted. Detective James Drury in court testified that March 16th, Brittany was his prime suspect. So Brittany came into the station because she remembered something. Maybe she remembered she forgot her hat in the car. So now she remembered that the men forced her to drive the car a few blocks away. And if she didn't come right back, they would kill her. And she can prove it because when she was walking back, she saw a police officer. She didn't talk to him.
This car. I've never been in this car, but I drove this car, and I just remembered it forever and a half later.
But if they told her you have to drive this car down the street, park it, and come back or we'll kill you, and you walk directly past a police officer, she didn't talk to him.
No.
And who the fuck would go back? I mean, if someone tells me you're going to drive this vehicle that has enough gas to get you the fuck out of here, and you're going to come back, or I'm going to... Are you serious?
But remember, they recited her address to her.
I don't give a flying fuck. She probably could have made it to the police station.
So the police decided to confront her with her new theory, and she started crying and in a low voice says, "Can I go home now?"
Oh, like, why did you go back?
No,
why did you even add this piece of information?
Like, because she had
trying to cover up.
In the car.
Trying to cover her ass.
You could have just said they took it and went in the car. Like, why?
Because she's an idiot. So the police brought in two of her siblings, Chris and Marissa, and they let them talk alone for a minute, and then they came in and started presenting evidence again. Marissa, her sister, was so upset that she had to leave. So the officer left Chris and Brittany alone, and Chris was searching the room for bugs to appease his sister's worry that they were being recorded, which they were.
Oh.
Sorry, I'm thinking police station and you're worried about being recorded?
No, my brain went him coming in and like looking for roaches. I'm with you now. Bugs like listening. Okay.
Like, whew, anywhere in a police station, you're gonna be listened into. Like, they've got shit everywhere.
Well, in the interrogation rooms, it's built into the walls in most stations.
So was her brother working with the police to try and get a confession?
No, he was just in there. They just brought them in to talk and just thinking maybe with familiar faces, let's try a different tactic. Maybe she'll be honest since she's been a pathological liar this whole time. And her brother said, "If you did it, just tell me." And she was like, no. And then he was like, "If you did it, just tell me." And she was like, "Well, I don't want to talk about this here," which was enough probable cause to arrest her. And this was 1 week after the murder, March 18th. In January 2012, she was convicted by a unanimous jury of first-degree murder and currently serving a life sentence without the chance of parole at Maryland Correctional Institute for Women. Montgomery County State Attorney John McCarthy said it perfectly. Her cunning and ability to lie is almost unparalleled. In 2015, Brittany unsuccessfully tried to appeal the court's decision. She is still behind bars. This was like such a horrifying act, and that was so unnecessary. Like, what did she even gain out of it? You know what I mean? If she was going to get fired, she already had another job lined up. And George Washington University released this statement. The George Washington University mourns the loss of Jana Murray, who died on March 11th in Bethesda. Miss Murray graduated from George Washington in 2003. They gave her like a posthumous degree in international marketing and business. She was pursuing a master's of business administration from Johns Hopkins University, where she received a master of arts in public and media relations in 2009. A resident of Arlington, Virginia, Miss Murray was a key leader at LuLulemon Athletica in Bethesda. The LuLulemon store actually put a beautiful stained glass mural that says love, and it's in honor of Jana. Her family went to see this 3 months after Jana was taken from them. They could go and visit it, and they have like all flowers, and people leave things there, her favorite cups of coffee. And the family started the Jana Troxel Murphy Foundation in memory of a beautiful soul that was taken way too soon.
That is super crazy. I mean, clearly the guy, he was talking about, her lies and all of that are unparalleled. My ass, because she fucking sucked at it. But this is where I'm gonna put my little viewpoint out here that some people share and some people don't. But bring back public hangings or the guillotine.
She says that all the time on our podcast.
Bring it back. I mean, because now this bish is going to be in some fucking institution or whatever, soaking up my goddamn dollars because she's a fucking psycho. Just fucking kill her.
What's
Why
crazy
waste the money and resources on people like this?
if they really brought back public hangings, I don't see men having the stomach for it. It's going to be a bunch of stay-at-home mothers who are into true crime, just like in this. Just
like people that listen to our shit that's gonna be there. They're gonna be like, oh,
you're gonna see a sea of merch.
We'll have booths. Okay.
Yeah. Have babies on their hips. Just
Can you sign my t-shirt?
Like
my baby. Sign my baby.
All right, fuck it.
But yeah, I mean, it's really upsetting, that it seems to be. It's always the sweet ones. It's always the nice ones. The ones that have that smile that lights up the room. And
this bitch stole from everybody. She was not fucking nice,
and she didn't care. And
girl Jana, look at how much she accomplished at 30.
Yeah, imagine what she could have accomplished, had she not been cut short.
For a pair of pants.
Yeah,
and this
for a fucking pair of pants.
She had an interview to leave. She was going to go be a personal trainer, Brittany. She could have just quit or gotten fired and just walked away.
So literally giving snitches get stitches a whole new meaning.
It's so sad. I hate this story.
It is.
Thanks so much for listening.
If you have a story you'd like us to share, email us at ouchwasthataghost@yahoo.com.
Don't forget to follow our Facebook page, Ouch, Was That a Ghost?